My name's Justin Merrell. I live here in town. We've lived here for 4 years now. Um, I am currently a deputy with the Muscle County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for 2 years, just over 2 years now. I'm an 8-year veteran of the U.S. Navy. Um, I was an aircraft aviation structural mechanic. I've had several years of blue collar jobs and law enforcement experience. I've got 3 kids of my own in the school system, plus I'm also the legal guardian of a fourth. I'm running for the school board because I believe that there needs to be fresh faces on the board and maybe a change in views and opinions to help move the school board forward. Sitting on the school board needs to be a go-between between parents and staff of the schools. They're not only responsible for handling internal staff issues, going back and forth with their unions and the schools, but they need to be a voice for the kids as well. One of the things that I've seen at the school board meetings is they ask for public comment, but they don't ever ask questions of the people sitting in the audience. They don't ask their opinions on certain things. They just ask whether or not they're for it or against it. And sometimes they don't even do that. Obviously, making large decisions for the schools requires everyone to be on board with it, and being able to make those informed, educated decisions is extremely important to the board. Accessibility wise, I live right in the middle of town. It's not that hard to figure out where I live. I have a patrol vehicle parked in front of my house all the time. I try my best to always answer emails. I'm very approachable in town. I have zero issues with people coming up to me and talking to me, ask me questions. If I can answer them, I will. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it. If it's something I can't discuss, I'll do my best to explain that. The 2 biggest ones that I've seen that I personally feel need to be adjusted are the transparency with the board, the fact that short of going to the website and looking at the meeting minutes after a school board meeting, there's really nothing else that comes out that states what happened at the boards, at the meetings. One of the other things that I've seen I think needs to be addressed is staffing. We've lost a couple of teachers recently. A couple more are leaving at the end of the school year, and we've had very little interest as far as people coming in to fill those positions. I think the school board needs to do something to make the jobs here more enticing. They need to broadcast it more. They need to talk about how strong the community is. Things that, from my personal experience, a lot of teachers look for strong community ties with the parents that are here. One of my teachers growing up, she was at every school board meeting. She went to every sports game that her students were in. I mean, she was my favorite teacher growing up, and she put her time in with all of her kids because that's, the parents reciprocated that same interest, and that's something that I don't think is being broadcast as far as bringing teachers in. I had not seen it until you presented it to me. I had no idea this was a thing. We never received anything from the school stating this is what was being implemented. Um, I never saw a post on the school's Facebook. I'm not even sure if it's on the school's website. Um, which again, it kind of goes back to the transparency issue part. Um, without having more in-depth information, I can't say whether or not it's positive or negative, or if there are positives and negatives to this program. I do agree that I think some of our focus needs to be pushed more on academics, but I do also understand that there is certain life skills that kids need to be taught that they probably aren't seeing at home simply because the parents don't think about it, or especially like, you know personal finances and things of that nature. But as far as this program, without having a full agenda in front of me to know what it all entails, I couldn't possibly give a straight answer on it. The lack of communication between community and admin slash board again goes back to the transparency issue that has kind of permeated this entire situation. If the parents aren't on board with a punishment, good lord, I couldn't think of that. If parents aren't on board with a certain type of punishment, or some way they don't agree with what the school or the school board has done, that they need to be able to bring that grievance forward and have it genuinely addressed. Um, and that's not even necessarily bringing it directly to the board, but they need to be able to go to the school, have it addressed, and have an actual conversation about what the issue is. Um, the behavior issues, I think if there is more, if there's a stricter level of accountability across the board in the schools, it will address a large portion of the issues. I think part of the issue is kids see that some kids get in trouble when some kids don't for doing the exact same thing. They see it, they'll be like, I'll test the waters and see if I get in trouble for it. Um, and I've seen that. My kids have been reprimanded for things, but then someone else turned around and did the exact same thing, and nothing happened to that other person. I don't want to necessarily say it's a favoritism thing, or if it's that particular student has a particular name that is either well known in the community or has a less than favorable standing in the community. Accountability across the board, equal, I think will fix a lot of the behavior issues that we're seeing at the school. On top of that, again, parents being able to come to the school and actually address these issues when things are happening that they don't agree with. I'd just like to thank everyone for the opportunity and the ability to run for this position. Our school board needs a positive change, and I would like to be a member driving that change. I'm invested in the community here. I work here. My kids go to school here. They play here. There's several organizations in this community that are very pro-student and pro-youth, and the students need the best possible advantages that we can provide to help them succeed.